think it's fair to say that the last couple months have been pretty good for Marvel fans. After the abysmal showing of 2023, Marvel started off on a more solid foot this year with Echo and What If, followed by the release of X-Men 97, universally considered to be one of the best things Marvel has ever produced. And between those releases, we've also been getting more new information on highly anticipated upcoming projects like Daredevil Born Again, The Fantastic Four, Blade, and Deadpool and Wolverine just around the bend. It's not to say Marvel is completely out of the woods, but it's nice to see things start to rebound after a pretty lackluster run over the last few years. And with Deadpool and Wolverine slated to release early next month and probably smash box office records harder than Logan gets smashed at the bar, I thought it might be a good idea to take a look at an often overlooked Marvel property that really stands out from the pack and, who knows, might even make an appearance in Deadpool 3. And even if it doesn't, the FX original series Legion, loosely based on the X-Men comic books, is still worth a look for its own sake, because it is easily the most unique and, in my mind, one of the best live-action properties that Marvel has ever produced. The series follows David Haller, a young and powerful mutant with telekinetic abilities who lives in a mental institution because of his lifelong struggle with schizophrenia. That and an evil telepathic parasite that's lived in his brain since he was a baby, but minor details. Anyway, while living at this mental institution, David meets a young woman named Sydney Barrett, who helps him escape and joins him up with a special team of mutants just like him who work to oppose Division 3, a special division of the government tasked with capturing and doing evil government things on mutants. Now, despite being based on the X-Men comics, the series is not connected to the iconic X-Men film series or any of its spin-offs. And in fact, the connection to the property is so loose for the most part that if you didn't know any better, you'd be hard-pressed to find that it even has anything to do with the X-Men brand at all. Aside from the occasional use of the term mutant and the brief appearance in the last few episodes of a young Charles Xavier, there are very few elements of the X-Men film series present in this story, and even the world itself is noticeably distinct. Legion is easily the most unique work I've ever seen in the superhero genre, at least on film. It takes heavy inspiration from the works of auteur art house directors like Stanley Kubrick and David Lynch, and presents the story through an unreliable narrator whose perspective on reality is so warped that it makes you wonder what, if anything, you're seeing is real. The series incorporates retro 60s aesthetics and unconventional cinematic techniques to twist what would otherwise be a more ordinary superhero story into an acid trip odyssey complete with random musical numbers, creative camera tricks and lighting, theatrical stage play, experimental visuals, and a psychedelic soundtrack. There is nothing like it. It is a one-of-a-kind series in its genre, and certainly among anything else Marvel has produced over the years. Legion is created by the same guy responsible for the first 3 seasons of the FX series Fargo, Noah Hawley, so if you've seen that show, then you have some idea of the kind of bonkers mental slip and slide you'll be in for with this show. It is weird. It is an insatiably, unapologetically strange series, and yes, at times that strangeness can become a little overindulgent, and like it's trying to be strange for the sake of being strange, but for the most part, whether it fits your personal storytelling taste or not, Legion is a flood of imagination and audacious creativity. It's not perfect, not by any means, and is it really the best thing Marvel has ever produced? If I'm being honest, probably not, but again, that's gonna depend a lot on your taste. A more straightforward, digestible superhero epic like Spider-Man or The Dark Knight or Superman might have more of a claim to that title because of the balance in those stories between grand scale and narrative simplicity. A lot of the greatest stories ever told are straightforward and don't need to be super weird or experimental to twist your brain into pretzel knots. So I can't tell you definitively that Legion is better than those stories just because it's more creative or inventive, but one thing I can promise you is that you'll never get bored with this show, whether you end up hating or loving it. Not only are there tons of twists and turns, and not only does it stand on its own in a way that's really refreshing in an age where every single superhero story now feels like a part of some grand tapestry that you have to watch 30 other movies and 15 other shows to understand, but it also has one of the best villains I've ever seen in any live-action superhero story. Period. Naveed Negahban's performance as the Shadow King, Amal Farouk, is probably the single most unsung and underappreciated performance I've seen in a Marvel property. This character is so intriguing and so well written, and I would recommend watching the series purely for the interplay between his character and David, because it's the highlight and, in many ways, the central focus of the story. Seriously, I would rank this character up there with the likes of Thanos or the Green Goblin any day of the week. He's that good. So, if you're looking for more of a Marvel fix on the way to Deadpool 3, consider checking out this underrated gem. You might love it, you might not, but you'll certainly never forget it. If there's another movie or show, book, or game that you think didn't get enough appreciation and you think more people should know about, tell me in the comments. And don't forget to like and subscribe, and check out my Patreon if you'd like to donate to my channel in exchange for a credit at the end of each video, special perks, and early access to future content. Peace.